Seminar Secrets Exposed. That's the presentation. So today I'm going to share with you a marketing concept and formula that's been responsible for generating close to $1 million in new business last year with one of my businesses. Pretty impressive. But what's more impressive, I'm going to show you how to take some of these ideas, make some minor adjustments, and kind of make it your own so you can take this time-tested success formula and make it work and grow your business. Because that's why you're here. It's not about me, it's about your businesses. So what I'm going to do is, before we start, I'm going to pass this basket around. And if you'd be kind enough, you can put one of your business cards in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you one of our free reports called 7 Fatal Mistakes That Will Kill Your Seminar. Those of you that are considering doing seminars, to assist your business, generate new leads, generate new sales, this report's going to really help you. Things that you're going to want to avoid when you're doing a seminar. You might as well learn from our mistakes because we've made them. So this is something that you're going to want to listen and really adhere to. And then there's going to be a bonus prize at the end of this presentation. This is going to be worth sticking around for, so don't skip out early. It's going to be worth your time, trust me. So a little bit about me. PMA Group, we're full-service advertising and marketing consultants. Been doing business for 28 years, and we do everything from market planning, informational seminars, which is, again, what we're talking about today. We do any type of production, print production, video, radio. Once we get that production done, we do the actual media buying, so it allows you to get your message out. We do website. I have website design on there, but it's more like website marketing. We do more than websites. We look at your business, see how we position you, search engine optimization, the whole 9 yards, so you're found on page 1 Google. That's our goal, it's our intention. My web programmer promises that. I never use that word. It's a tough promise. So anytime you want to communicate with your customers, your current customers, or new prospective customers, that's pretty much what we do. So everyone's here for a reason today. Everyone's got a particular reason that you are attending. One of which is you might want to generate some new ideas, some innovative breakthrough concepts on how to generate new business for your company. That's one reason. How many are here for that reason? New ideas? Thank you. Some are here to get to generate leads. How to generate new leads to subsequently grow your business. A number of people are here for that reason. Some of you are here because either your boss gave you a gentle reminder, like, get to that presentation, or perhaps your husband or wife said you better be there. Some of you are completely lost. You're kind of out of ideas on how to generate new business. You've tried everything, virtually everything, so you want to get some new insight on what might work. So if you're in one of those categories, today those concerns and those confusion ends. Because here's the bottom line. I'm going to show you how to take your business to the next level by implementing this time-tested system called information seminars. It's pretty fascinating. Like I said, this is one of the things that we do as a company. We put on information seminars for a number of different companies, a number of different business disciplines. So keep an open mind as far as how this can work for your business. Because initially you might think, like, this isn't going to work for me, I don't do this, I don't do that. There's always something. There's always something that you'll be able to take this and really kind of streamline and customize for your particular business. So before I start, there's a 7-minute little video of one of my clients that has really taken the seminar business to the next level. So this will give you some kind of background on how this works, the history, some insights how we've really taken this seminar thing to the next level.
Hi, I'm Dr. Scott Westermeyer. I've got a little practice outside of Buffalo, New York, which isn't exactly Los Angeles. And over the last several years, you probably have experienced what I have, a little economic downturn, which has been challenging in dentistry, especially if you have a dental practice that provides a lot of elective services, which is what took the biggest hit in that downturn. The reason we put this together is to share with you a little secret of how we've been able to maintain and actually grow through these hard times, employing a technique in our practice that's paid off real well for us. And I'd like to tell you a little bit of the background story before we show you exactly how it is we do what we do. A couple years ago when the recession really kicked in, I caught myself outside of dentistry trying to hit a home run in real estate. And maybe you've been in the stock market or somewhere else, but this was my little tripping point. I'm 52 years old, I was feeling the heat, and I felt the need to make some money outside of the practice for some reason. And so I got involved in a few deals that really cut me off at the knees. And the reason I tell you that is I found a need to, once I decided that wasn't going to work, I came back to the practice and I said, okay, let's get serious about this dental practice. We've experienced a moderate success here. I want to take it up a notch. And so we started to think, what is it we could do to really improve our practice? Now, we had a pretty solid 10-chair practice out in the suburbs of Buffalo, and we were clicking around okay, but what I noticed was every now and then we would hit streaks of production where we would do real well. And we measure our hourly production, and we would pop up at about $2,000 an hour, and that's pretty good. But the trick was we couldn't maintain that all the time. So in getting down to dirty about how to do this, we said, how can we change this? And we decided we just have to invite more cases in that pay better. And what were those? And frankly, that was my higher end cosmetic stuff, and which was falling off, right, because that's elective. But the other thing that seemed to be clicking along pretty good was implants. It's a growing area, and the market was getting more attuned to that, so patients were starting to ask about them. There was still some confusion about them, but we know that when we do implants fast and efficiently, they're very profitable. So we also took note of the fact that when it came to implants, we took a lot of time explaining the pros and cons, the ins and outs of implants, and if we could do this more efficiently, it would be to our advantage. So we kicked around an idea that had been used by local ophthalmologists. Around here, LASIK surgery, the ophthalmologists invite patients to come into their office and witness a LASIK surgery and sign people up. And they were very successful at it. So my wife, among others, had been harping on me, why don't you try that? And I used to think people wouldn't be interested, but now I had a different reason. I said, let's try this. Let's invite some people in and show them a little movie and tell them a little story and take an hour to show them the miracle of what implants can do. And we did. And we screwed up the first couple and had some hits and misses, but we were onto something because people appreciated the clarity that we were giving them about implants, and what they were doing is stand up, turn around, and wanting to schedule consults with us. And while that was our aim, we weren't good at doing it just yet. So what we did was we spent some time at perfecting the actual presentation, and we learned to use testimonials and certain little educational aids, and we put together the whole thing and started doing this on a regular basis. And before we knew it, we were experiencing significant pop in our production to the tune of $50,000 and $100,000 worth of dentistry scheduled from these nights of seminars to patients. So I'm proud to say we popped our production on up this last year to $5.5 million. And I want to tell you, these patient education seminars that we put on right in our waiting room have become a standard practice once a month in our practice. And last year they accounted for over 20% of the production of our office. And when we kind of came to the realization of how powerful these were and understood that actually the hour that we take to do that is the most profitable hour we have, bar none, in everything we do in the course of a month. I mean, the sales effect that happens that night sets us up and sets our schedule up and mines out 5, 10, 15, 20 cases that are high production cases that absolutely make all the difference. So now you may not be able to relate to these numbers, or you may surpass them, I don't know, but our practice now clicks between $400,000 and $500,000 a month, and a good portion of that, like I said, 20% of that is accounted for by implant-related dentistry. Now, a little serendipitous thing is when we do these seminars, new patients come in for all kinds of reasons. We call it collateral dentistry. They walked in the door wanting to learn about implants, but they end up getting dentures and partials and crowns and all the other collateral dentistry. So we count all that in that mix. That's where we get that number. But I'll take it. I'll take it because we're asking for and getting the high productive implant related dentistry. And here's another sideline we didn't know. We've kind of positioned ourselves in our marketplace as the experts because we're the guys that do those seminars. So when we have a little article in the paper or a little thing on the radio, we're now known for those guys that give the seminar, so they know what they're talking about. And while there's plenty of dentists around that do implants just as well as we do, we make more noise about it than anybody else, and as a result, get more traffic.
That's the power that lies here for informational seminars. And again, dentistry is the example I'm using, but it can be really used across many different services and different businesses, and I'll be showing other examples down the road. So, how big of a superhero would you be if you came to your boss and said, look at an idea, I could generate 20% more business this year. That's pretty awesome. I mean, literally be almost $1 million based on 1 hour, actually it's about an hour and a half now, once a month, monthly seminar. You invite people in, they do a seminar, and it is literally like clockwork. Where they will generate anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000 for that 1 hour and a half investment. So that's, again, it's a standard practice now. They do these every single month. They do them in December. Thinking like December, who's going to come to a seminar in December? Well, all you need is one big case. Last December we had, I think maybe it was only like 7 or 8 people show up. There's generally anywhere between 25, 30 people or so every single month. You think by now that topic would be kind of old, people know about this? No, because every month there's a new person that has their teeth knocked out playing hockey like me, or their dentures are loose and they want to get a new permanent solution. So this thing just kind of rolls and rolls and rolls every single month. So our first seminar was actually 5 years ago, last month in February 2009. We did all the planning, we did all the advertising buy, spent $5,000 in advertising. We did some radio, we did some TV, some print to, again, the key is to bring people into the seats. But there's only one little problem in our infinite wisdom of planning this. We kind of forgot what happens in February in Buffalo sometimes. Snows, right? So we're sitting there, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, seminar's at 6, and this massive snowstorm blows in. They're in East Aurora, so it's snowbelt. We're thinking, great, $5,000 down the drain. It's like unbelievable. Everybody's on pins and needles. Well, to our surprise, 35 people showed up. They braved the snow and the cold. Well, this is Buffalo, we're kind of tough, right? But we were actually kind of shocked. We're thinking like a handful of people perhaps. Well, like I said, 35 people showed up. So we kind of knew we were onto something here. In the event that someone might be considering doing these seminars, this is a critical point. These are little seminar tips I'll be sharing throughout this particular seminar. The customer testimonial is the most critical, most important part of the entire seminar. Let me give you an example. So again, this seminar goes for about an hour and a half perhaps. And it opens up by Scott's office administrator. She'll start the actual seminar. We learned this from Steve Jobs, kind of shared the stage. She opens it up, then Dr. Westermeyer and his partner come up, Dr. Martin, and they talk about what they do, what implants can do, how they can transform your life. And that's all great, but we can only say so much. You know, you can only toot your horn so much, then it sounds like it's bragging. So then we've got a patient that comes up that has been an implant case, either recently or a few years ago, and they share their story. And I'm telling you, you can hear a pin drop, because it's all about raw emotion. I'm telling you, many times it comes to tears. It has made such an impact on their lives that, you know, for years, they never smiled. They didn't go out to dinner. They'd grow a long mustache, or when they'd smile, they'd cover their face. This is a life-transforming kind of procedure. And with implants, this is not an insurance kind of covered kind of thing. If you have dental insurance, you've got a good policy, you might cover $1,000 a year. But these cases are, again, an implant is about $4,000, anywhere to $50,000. So frankly, you just need one. By the way, I didn't finish my story. So last December, we had 7 people, but the first case was a $40,000 double high bridge case, what it's called. So you never know when that person's going to be there. And there's always that one person, every single seminar, it's that big case kind of person. So again, patient testimonials are absolutely key. Again, they are the most powerful part of the evening. You select a person, you just have them come up, you give them a little coaching, and they just basically share their stories. Some people like to ramble. Sometimes you got to get the cane and kind of yank them off because it's their 15 minutes of fame. But it's absolutely amazing. Once they share the stories, people are like, yep, sign me up. Here's the results, because again, it's all about results, guys, right? For the past 5 years, they've taken their, and again, this is just one sector of their business. This is not total growth. This is the implant sector of their business. They have gone from pretty much zero to almost $1 million in annual growth, and it keeps growing. It's absolutely unbelievable. This concept has become so successful that what we did, when I see we, it's myself, Dr. Westermeyer, and the office administrator, Maria, we started another company. It's called Just Do It Down. And basically what we did is kind of package this concept, this seminar concept, and we sell this to dentists all over the country. Basically, it's a step-by-step, paint-by-numbers system that we say, here you go. Just follow the system. And it's not for the dentist, or it's not for the doctor. We say, give this to an office administrator, give it to one of your key people, and they follow everything. And again, the beauty of how we've designed it, there are step sheets. Again, these are things to do. 3 weeks before, 2 weeks before, a week before, day of, day after, follow everything. Comes with the actual presentation. There's no thinking involved. So we sell this product. We've sold, in the past 3 years, about 100. This is not a cheap product. It's a $6,000 product. So, do the math. We've made over $500,000 just by this little information marketing tool, if you want to call it that. Some dentists say, how about the price? And it's like, okay, well, for $6,000, I'm going to show you how to make over $250,000 to $1 million. It's a pretty good ROI when you think about it. So again, another company was swear because of the success of these seminars. They just work. And I'm telling you, people buy these things and they are just shocked with the success. We are not shocked. But they are shocked, like, I can't believe how easy it was. I can't believe, the kind of business I'm doing now. It's tremendous. So many of you are saying, like, that's great, but I'm not a dentist. And that's a very fair question. Because how is this going to relate to my business? Well, let me give you another example. Zimmer Orthopedics, they do, I call it bionic parts. Shoulders, hips, knees, things like that. We put together a slideshow presentation, again, talking about knees and hips and things like that. We put together an actual campaign. And we didn't spend a lot of money on advertising, by the way. We went into some smaller markets, so there wasn't really a lot to bring those people in. But we put that together, put a newspaper, and one was a poster we put up in a particular hospital. Do you have knee or hip pain? I mean, most people at a certain age will have knee or hip pain. So, again, it's all about results, guys. The first seminar we ever had, we had it in Medina. I don't know if people know where Medina is. It's kind of like northeast, and it's just this little town. We had 23 participants that attended this particular seminar to know more about, what can I do about my knee and what can I do about my hip and my shoulder pain. Cornell, another little town in the southern tier, 34 participants. And again, not spending a lot of money, guys. I think they spent under $1,000 bringing these people in. Rochester, 45, and this one blew us away. Jamestown, 175 people showed up at the hospital to learn about knee and hip pain and how to alleviate. We were just blown away, absolutely positively. So, based on that, I think you can see how these patient educational seminars can really lead to new sales and new possibilities for your company. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable. Another seminar tip, if you choose to do this, when you're advertising this, you advertise the event. You don't advertise your practice or your company. As an example, when we do these for Westermeyer Martin, we don't talk about the office, we don't talk about the great staff, things like that. We talk about the actual event. In fact, most of our advertising is done in two particular mediums, radio and print. Sandy Beach is kind of our spokesperson, so he kind of does a live read, talks about the seminar, talks about the office, how it can transform your life and the whole nine yards. But he talks specifically about the event, not the practice. We talk about practice in other advertising venues. So some of you are sitting there and say, yeah, I'm still skeptical. Our company sells an intangible service. We don't sell implants, we don't sell hips, we don't sell knees. How can this work for me? Well, guys, it's all about value. It's about, your number one job is to communicate value. I don't care what you sell. I don't care what your service is. I don't care what your product is. But if you communicate that value, you can sell ice to Eskimos. You don't believe me? Keep listening. Success story number 3. So this is a true story. A couple years ago, my mom was in ill health, and she was in a nursing home, and I knew the end was kind of near. So, you don't want to really think about those things, and you really don't want to address it. But another college hockey buddy of mine, Tony Amagon Funeral Home, I went to see Tony, and kind of explained the situation. My mom's in ill health. In the end is around, I don't know, it could be a month, it could be a year, but so I sat down with him, we kind of planned this whole funeral, which is, again, not the most pleasant thing to do, but I felt comfortable with Tony, and he did a wonderful job. He's a very compassionate person. So we really kind of sat down and kind of planned, okay, what paperwork is needed, what things do I have to do, what things do I have to get in order in the event that my mom passed away. So she did pass away, and I was driving to her memorial service, and my mind's always going. So I'm thinking, how great it was that I actually sat down with Tony and really kind of had all these things already kind of handled. Because otherwise, you're kind of scrambling, and where do we do this, and how do we do this, and what's this, and what about this, and what about that? Well, it's all done. So there was a certain peace of mind because I took the time to sit with him to kind of plan this thing out. So I share with them the success we've had with the implant seminars, with the Zimmer seminar, and I thought, it's a possibility to think about this, how it can assist you in talking about pre-planning and in generating some interest in, and again, sharing information, valuable information. So basically what we did is, he liked the idea, and we came up with a campaign. So instead of talking about the morbidity and depressing, pre-planning your funeral, because there aren't too many topics that are more kind of depressing than that, we kind of shifted the message. Today you're going to discover the numerous benefits and peace of mind that pre-planning can offer. And again, we put an ad together, and it's the big elephant in the room question. Most people avoid thinking or talking about funeral pre-planning, or wouldn't it be better to be prepared? Again, because I experienced it, I knew what it did for me, and that's what we basically did. So, again, I don't care what your product or service is, this is pre-planning your funeral. Results. We had 17 pre-planning seminars this past summer, actually. He's got 17 homes, so he actually held it in every one of his funeral homes throughout the West New York region. Attendance was anywhere between 3 and 26. The one summer that we had 3, it was one of these crazy hot 95-degree days, and frankly, nobody showed up. But again, it was weather related because our average attendance was about 18. So, again, pre-planning your funeral, we had 18 average, up to 26 people, and people really left served. Anthony does a wonderful job. Again, he kept it light, he kept it informational. Nothing depressing about it. People have tons of questions, and again, subsequently had a lot of people attend. Made one-on-one appointments actually to talk about pre-planning for their. And again, it was geared towards the parent and for the children too, because many times the children are the ones that have to deal with this. So it was just, again, it was positioned that way. So guys, if it can work for pre-planning your funeral, it can work for anything. Trust me. Now here's the bonus for the Amicon funeral homes. There are no additional ad costs because basically he was already advertising. He was already doing TV. He was already doing radio. All we basically did was shift the message. So instead of talking about whatever, standard commercial, we talked about the pre-planning seminars. And frankly, he held the actual seminars at his funeral home, so there were no additional costs there. Just a little bit of food. You always bring, by the way, food is a biggie. Always have food. And again, it doesn't have to be elaborate. But here's the thing, too. Here's the interesting thing about that, too. With the Westermeyer seminars, they partner with a company called BioHorizons. BioHorizons is an implant manufacturer. And really, it's in BioHorizons' best interest that they are successful. So they pick up those expenses. They pick up the food expenses. Westermeyer right now does 2 seminars. They do one in the Southern Tier and they do one in the Marriott. Some people in the North Towns don't want to drive to South Town, so we can kind of bring the show on the road here. And they pick up that expense. It's about $800 expense between the room and the food. And again, they pick up that expense because, again, it's in their best interest. So in your situation, me partnering with your company manufacturer, they will help you because your success is subsequently their success. So in Amagon's case, there was really no money spent. You just kind of shifted the message and it worked out great. So if you are thinking about or if you're interested in doing these seminars for your own particular business, and by the way, you can take notes. I'm also recording this, so I'm going to put this online so you can see it, so you don't feel like, oh man, I didn't get that. No, what was that? You'll watch this again. So these are the top 10 steps needed to put on your own successful information seminar, if you're thinking of doing these. Number 1 is commit to a date, time, and location. Basically, you want to make this thing about 6 weeks out, because there is planning that has to be done. Now, this sounds crazy. This sounds like it's really simple. The number 1 challenge, problem, whatever you want to call it, for dentists that we sell this product to, they don't commit to a date. It's absolutely insane. They spend $6,000 and they sit on the product. This isn't $50. This is $6,000. I will call it, would you commit to a date? And there's always some kind of excuse. But basically, that's probably based in fear. It's like, oh my God, this is a lot of work, and I don't know what you've done, and this is happening, my daughter's graduating, and we just had a leak in the roof. Commit to a date, and really, it's just do it. Our company's called Just Do It Now, because it's like, guys, just do it. Just commit to it. And again, just kind of get it done. Commit to an advertising, your event, in a budget. And notice the words I'm using. And again, I use them very deliberately. I say commit. I don't say think about. I don't say consider. I say commit. Because you commit to it, then it's going to happen. So you got to figure out what you're going to want to spend, from a budget standpoint. A lot of dentists ask me, like, well, how much do I spend on this? I said, well, you spend as much as you want. We, Westermeyer Martin, spends anywhere between $5,000 and $7,000. It depends. Now, you don't have to spend that much for years. Some people take their internal list and promote it that way. There's an actual dentist we saw at a show recently in New Orleans that actually his practice is in New Orleans. He started doing these seminars last June. He saw us at another show. We do trade shows also for our company, Just Do It Dental. And he purchased the product in May. And it was interesting because he was one of these guys. He was kind of one of these know-it-all kind of guys. He had answers to all our... And he kind of reluctantly bought this. And yeah, I guess I'll buy it. It's a 30-day money-back guarantee. He made over $350,000 last year by putting these seminars on in 7 months. And all he does is spend $1,500 in TV. He's got, I don't know where he gets $1,500. I mean, that's a very inexpensive buy, but he just spends $1,500. So he spends $1,500 times 7. So that's about he spent $10,000 to advertise people, so he made $350,000. That's just an incredible return on investment. But you've got to commit to a budget. You just can't magically wish that on, gee, the whole people will show up. That's the key. You advertise event, get them in the seats. Step number 3, when you register your guests, you want to send them kind of like a welcome packet. We have done a lot of split testing, and that really helps people actually attend. They feel committed. They get something in the mail. Thank you for registering for a seminar. Here's some information. These are some of the things you're going to learn. And again, it's just another step where they feel like, oh, I got this in the mail. It's kind of like the Cialdini law of reciprocation. I got something. Gee, I guess I should really go. So that works wonders. So step number 4 is, again, design and create your presentation. This one takes some time. So if you're going to be thinking about doing this, that's why I say start this thing 4 to 6 weeks out, because it's going to take some time to put your presentation together, to practice it. This presentation I put together takes me about 20 hours, believe it or not. There's a lot of thinking behind it, how this thing's going to flow, is this the right message, am I on task, change things, add this, add that, so this takes time. Organize your seminar team to go over event logistics. When I say seminar team, you don't want to be doing this yourself. You've got people that can assist you with this. You're in charge of this, you're in charge of this, you take care of this, you're in charge of the food, you take care of that, make sure the equipment is working, things like that. So you want a team. And again, it's kind of a team event. They feel good about it. At the end of the night, they all feel good, like we are a part of this kind of winning formula. Assess your audio video equipment needs. This is one of the 7 things that can ruin your seminar. We had a show in Scottsdale back in, again, a trade show. We were up on stage, and I couldn't get my computer to work. It was absolutely unbelievable. They started the presentation, we were 15 minutes into it before it was working the day before, it wasn't working that day. And I'm just sweating bullets. I'm like, oh my God. So you want to make sure everything's working. You want to make sure the audio is working, you want to make sure the projector's working, slideshow is working. Don't wait for that night. Don't do this like 20 minutes before, because it's not good. Especially when something's not working. You're just like, it's not good. Select and invite the appropriate testimonial. Like I said, the testimonial is the most critical part of the night. So you want to pick a person that's going to really kind of share their story, kind of share like how great you are, again, in their own words, but again, talk about the experience, how great it was for them. You want to call to action, some kind of an offer to incentivize participants to take action either that night or that day. As an example, how Westmeyer Martin does it is at the end of the night, they say anyone that's interested in taking the next step, and basically our goal in those seminars is then to set up an appointment for a one-on-one consult. We're not selling you, just coming in, we'll see, because every case is different. They say, well, how much is it going to cost me? I don't know. They don't know until they take x-rays. They do what's called a pantograph, 3D x-ray. They see what the problems are. In my case, again, I'm not kidding you, I've got 2 implants. I play hockey, and hockey players subsequently lose teeth. So they like me because I'm a returning customer. But basically, I waited a little bit too long, and there's what's called bone loss. So I had to get what's called a bone graft. So every case is, as you would know, every case is a little bit different. So our step is to have them come into the office and assess, like, okay, what's the next step for you? That's about a $450 cost. We say because you're here for the seminar, that cost, we're going to waive that fee. So that's the incentive, like, wow, I'm saving $450, of course, we'll sign up. So you want some kind of incentive for your product or service for them to take the next step, whatever that next step is for you. Step number 9 is follow-up. People think once the seminar is done, okay, we're done. No, you've got to follow up with the people. If there were people that registered that didn't show up, that are people that were there, that weren't sure. So you want a nice follow-up, thank you letter, things like that, follow-up system, you want that in place. And step number 10, it sounds like really simple, but schedule your next seminar. Again, we do these things on a monthly basis. It doesn't matter what month it is. This one blows me away. There are dentists that have implemented this program. How's it working? Oh, it's unbelievable. It's great. We love this. This thing just works like clockwork. Okay? How often do you do it? Oh, we do it, I don't know. We do it every 3 or 4 months. Okay? Why don't you do it monthly? If you're going to make anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000 every time you do this monthly. Do this twice a month if you want to. But really, the return is there. So again, it's really schedule your next seminar. That's kind of the critical part. So.